Hey everyone, this is Judi with JLBCrafts. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, thank you so much for giving me a try. In this video, I'm going to be decorating and doing some hand lettering for the week of December 26th through January 1st. This is the last week. I can't believe it's been 2 full years already. Actually, I'm filming this video right before I need to post it because I've been putting it off because I'm happy and sad. It's finally the end, but let's not dwell on that. I don't want to make us super sad. I'm working on some kind of hand lettering something, probably my inspirational quotes from my Sunday replacement video, so don't panic, don't choke on your coffee. We will figure something out. So this week, if you have a lettering planner, you will be dumbfounded, I certainly was, to know that after an entire full year, this is where they finally tell you to write your first word. Obviously, we've been writing words all year because, oh my gosh, we would have gone bonkers if we hadn't. So we're gonna ignore this and do some final things. So we're gonna play with the numbers and a little bit of punctuation, and then we're going to talk about bounce lettering. And I'm going to this video is going to be quite a bit different than my normal weekly video because we're doing so many new things. I'm going to be talking through a lot of it and not doing so much fast forwarding, but that's okay. I'm also going to link last year's bounce lettering video because honestly, I was going to redo the exact same thing, and then I started watching it and I was like, no, I'm just going to link it. I'm going to link it in the cards up above. I will link it in the description box down below, the description box, in case you're watching this on a device that doesn't show cards. I almost always watch YouTube videos on our Apple TV, and so cards don't actually pop up on that. So I will also link it in the description box. That was beginner stuff. I want to do something a little bit different this year. So, but anyway, let me get going. So I am going to use these gorgeous, this is in the Winter Blooms from Live Love Posh. This is the new one from 2022. And since this is the day after Christmas, but technically a lot of people don't know the 12 days of Christmas actually start. Christmas Day is day 1. So on the first day of Christmas, the 25th, my true love gave to me, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, so this is still Christmas technically. So I'm going to use these. I think they're absolutely gorgeous. There's a little bit of blue in some of the leaves. There's obviously the red and some orange and green, and I just love the berries and the holly. So I'm going to do my normal. I have this Simply Gilded washi tape. It's a super, super dark, like tartan plaid, because I thought that would go pretty with it. So speeding this up, just going to do my normal. I'm going to do the washi tape along the edges and the stickers down the middle and across the top. And for one last time in this series, I will tell you, don't pull your washi tape super tight. If you do, it stretches, and when you trim the ends and unstick it from your desk, it retracts back to its natural state, and that's what causes your page to curl. I also still have a link for Simply Gilded's No Spam newsletter. If you sign up for that No Spam newsletter using that link, you will get a coupon code for $5 off a purchase of $15 or more, and I will get that same coupon code. And it's definitely enough to cover shipping on a moderate to small size order. I just realized that this washi tape matches my manicure. It's a nice dark Christmassy manicure, so I'm not going to worry about bullet points this week because we don't have a clear assignment for every single day. So I'm going to pick pens and zoom in, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I picked Christmas colored pens, but definitely as bold as I could find. So I've got the Fudenosuke from Tombow, aren't really that bold and dark. even though their caps make you think they will be. So I just went ahead and went with black with the Fudenosuke. That's the firmest pen I have. Next I have the Zebra Funwari in green. Then I have the Vice Brand Ultra Color in a teal blue. It's way, way darker than you think. It's going to match these dark teal leaves really well. And then the softest pen I have, relatively speaking, is the Calligraph. And this is the magenta, but it's a beautiful Christmassy crimson color. So like I said, they're going to match my Manicure. So this is The Night Before Christmas by Jen and Berries. Anyway, all right, so I always warm up no matter what I'm doing. Even if all I'm writing is December on a monthly view, I still warm up because it just makes such a huge difference. So I'm heavy-handed. I'm going to start with the firmest pen I have. That's the Tombow Fudenosuke. Tombow is the brand and Fudenosuke is the product line. And since I'm heavy-handed, I start with the firmest pen because those are easier to control. If you're light-handed and you struggle with firm pens, do the opposite. Start with the softest, the easiest to control, and work your way up to the more difficult ones. You'll do a lot better as you warm up. So, and I'm going to do aces because that's what I was doing most recently. Also, the S's are going to figure prominently in our balanced lettering discussion today, so I definitely want to include the S. So second pen I have is the Zebra brand Funwari product line in green. Okay, next I have the Vice brand Ultra Color. I believe Vice brand is the company and Ultra Color is the product line, but I'm not super familiar with them, so I could be wrong on that. And as you can see, my warm-up is a bit messy today. So, all right, and last I have the Calligraph from Archer and Olive. Archer and Olive is the company and Calligraph is the product line. And I will, just like always, I'll save room at the end for one really big. Maybe I'll use this space clear over here for that, this space under hello for my big aces. Since the end is so big, I need to use both rows together just for my half height word. Like I said, I'm doing things out of order this year. After watching last year's video, which again, if I haven't linked it yet, I will link it in the cards up above and in the description box. But what we did last year was look at some options for numbers. And so you can see I've got a number on each row here. So we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to do a number on each row. Then we're going to play with a little bit of punctuation. And then we'll get into what balanced lettering is. I'm going to try to do slightly different info on balanced lettering this year as opposed to last year. So let's get all of our examples of numbers over here. But I mean, we're going to go through these and we're only going to have one line per number. Don't let that get to you. Just remember, light up, heavy down. Light up, heavy down. And I'll be honest with you, I haven't written brush lettered a single number in the whole year since I practiced them at this time last year. So, I mean, just light up, heavy down as you do the number your normal way, and it's going to look brush lettered. So, anyway, so let's look at these. This is the black cover Rainbow Crayola Calligraphy Dollar Store book. And I haven't been referring to this one very often because it's actually for faux calligraphy where you do, so you can see here on the 4, see the little red dotted line where they're showing you this is where you make it fatter. Right? Same thing with the 3 here. So you're just doing it with a normal pen and then they're showing it where to make it fatter. That's called faux calligraphy. But we can use this stylistically as a way to do our letters, or I mean our numbers. So here they're doing for the 1, they're doing a little bit of a light up and then a fat heavy down, nothing at the middle. They're a little bit curved here. You can see the 2. So if you're doing really curly, loopy letters, these are probably the numbers you're going to want because they're going to stylistically fit in with that font. You've been developing your own personal brush lettering font the best. So here's a 2. As you can see, they're starting and coming way, like at the 6 o'clock position, and coming way up and around light, heavy, light, right? So it's following the rules, right? 3, they're kind of not just flat at the top, but almost concave. They're coming down, slightly curved down to give it a little bit of a flare, a little bit of a curl, and then sharp straight down, and then here's your heavy down. Since this is a diagonal, because of the way the pen tips are angled, the thickness will vary a little bit. And then this is a clear heavy down, and then very curly again, light up to finish. As you could see, we saw the 4 earlier. They're doing a very barely open top there, because your 4 can be wide open or it can be actually triangular and pointy there. So, but they are keeping this kind of light. So even though it's a down, and then curl and across, and then there's your clear heavy down for your 4. 5, curved again. So if you're doing the curves, like at the 1 and the 3, you're going to do it at the 5 and at the 7, you know what I mean? So light across, slightly heavy down, big curvy heavy down, and then again, if you're doing the curlies, like on the 2 and the 3, you're going to do it on the 5 as well. So see how you see, stylistically, you see recurring themes. 6, we have another example where you could keep that open and do more of a curl here, but it's just light up, big, heavy down, and then light up. 7, they're doing really curly on the 7, so almost like the 2. They're coming way around, and then they've got this little concave bit here where they kind of dip in, and then heavy down, and they are doing a little crossbar on the 7, which is how I do my 7s and my Zs normally. 8, okay, couple different options for the 8. You can do like the infinity pattern, or you can do 2 circles, but either way, you've got a heavy down, light up, and then you can just meet there, or if you're doing the curly thing, do your curl there. 9's a 9. It looks like they're starting here and coming around counter or clockwise, and then into a heavy down. And then there's your 0. It's basically a big O, right? But then they're not stopping at the top. They're coming in and curling. So that is, like I said, the black cover $1 Dollar Tree Crayola Calligraphy book. I referred to this one last year, but it's foligraphy, like I said, so I don't really refer to it super often. The normal Crayola Calligraphy book that from Dollar Tree, the white covered one, doesn't have any numbers or punctuation in it. This is the boxed set from Crayola that I happened to get at Walmart. And again, anywhere I could find links to any of these online links, I have them linked in the description box. So here, of course, you can see, oh, and the Tombow free lettering worksheets that we've been using all year, that had no numbers or punctuation either. Sorry, it was totally out of focus while I was waving my hands. All right, so here we go again. Slight differences, less curl, less frill, more angle, more consistent angle. So we don't have the curl here. This is a little tiny bit wavy, this little bit on the 1 there. And they are doing a foot on the bottom of the 1. Here you can see the 0, they're just heavy down, light up, and kind of leaving a tiny little opening there. The 2, pretty straight. There's not that extra curl. Same thing with the 3. They're not doing the flat top. They're doing similar to the 2. Here's the 4. A little bit more of an open 4. But, I mean, the pattern you should see emerging here is light ups, heavy downs, light ups, right? You don't have to really focus on these as much, in my opinion. All right, we'll get to the punctuation. And then this is the Calligraphy Made Easy book that I also got at Walmart. So here are our numbers. Just big. These, I think, to me, these seem the least frilly, right? So the little start on the 1 and the foot, they're teeny, teeny, tiny. And the main part of it is the big, broad, heavy down. Same thing with the 2 and the 3. These guys are little and these are bigger. Although I am noticing a faintly triangular bit to these, which I love, as in that the top is slightly smaller than the bottom. Here, 7, this is the first time we're seeing this little thing here. So they're just coming across and down, and then they're adding this little bit and this little bit. You can tell by the arrows. Again, here we've got an 8. This one, they're coming, getting a little flare there, coming way up. The danger, I think, with the 8 is that it can start to look like a capital S if you're not careful. Here's the 9, so kind of like an A, but with a really long bottom. And then I like this 0 where they kind of come past and leave it a little bit open. So there we go. All of our numbers. So let's just play with them. I'm just going to do a rotate through my pens like I normally would and do 1 number per row. So let's start with the number 1. So we can do kind of like a little bit of a concave entry into it, but it's light. Either way, you're going up, so it's light. Heavy down, and then light foot of whatever size you want, right? We can make this straighter and bigger. We can leave the foot off. Again, we can make this more curved, less curved. So I definitely encourage you to pick the thing that looks like the actual number, not something else, and pick something that fits with the font you've been developing, and then just follow the rules, light ups and heavy downs. So for me, the way I actually print my ones, and knowing that I like things to look faintly triangular, I'm going to go with a bigger foot and a smaller start. I have 3D stickers on the back from last week's Z is for Zebra and Zoo spread. And then consistency and size. So you're going to want to make sure you're spacing them correctly. So these are meant to be separate ones. If I want to make an 11, I need to space them a lot closer together, even to where the feet are overlapping, and that's totally fine. That looks like an 11 to me. And just consistency. So if I'm going to put a little curve here, I want to see where else I can put my little curves. Okay, so next, softest pen, and we'll do 2s on this row. So I want my 2 to, again, be faintly triangular, so I'm going to make my top part of my 2 a little bit smaller than the bottom foot part of my 2. I have a little bit of a curve here, so I'll probably do a little bit of a curve on the foot. Let's try that. So smaller, light up, big, heavy down, light up with a little bit of a curve. And so I have my little faint triangular thing. Not getting super curly here because that's not what my developed brush hand lettering personal font has. It doesn't have a lot of curly cues and stuff. And I have seen though where they even put a little curly cue here. So if you wanted to get super curly, right? That definitely looks like a 2, but it wouldn't fit with the rest of my font because I don't do all the curlies. So I'm just going to practice the slightly more straightforward one. And then if we want to space them super close together so it looks like a 22 and not just a 2. And it's okay to connect them. I mean, that they both still look like 2s, but now it very clearly says 22. Next, we'll move on to the 3s. So I have a little bit of a curl going on here. So I can do a 3 that's just a couple of humps with the top one being smaller than the bottom one for that triangular feel. Kind of like a Z. Is that a Z? Or the belly? This is the front half of the B, the big capital B. Or I can do a flat start with a little bit of a curve, right? And then a pointy, more severe. There we go. That's a little too angled, but I think I like that. That says to me, that says 3 a little bit more so than this one. Now I can try making that a little more balanced like the 2. And we can try the flat topped 3 again. Fix it a little bit. See which one do we like better. I think I kind of like this one better. It looks less like a, so in my dyslexic brain, this starts to look like a backwards E very easily to me. That starts to look like a capital E because my brain is flip-flopping it. So I think I'm gonna go with this one because it just very clearly screams 3 to me. So just following the rules, light, heavy, light into heavy. You can't go wrong. All right, let's try making a 33. So I learned to make my 4 mostly with a closed point, plus that reinforces the triangular aspect of it. So if I go heavy down, lighter across, with a little bit of a curve to it to match the little bits of the font that I'm developing, right? And then heavy down. I like that. That looks fine to me. I mean, you don't have to do that. You can do heavy down, light across, heavy down, and keep your 4 open. And actually both of those look fine to me, but I'm kind of defaulting to the triangular ones. And this one I might want to make this a tiny bit bigger by coming across just slightly below midline to make it look a little more balanced. Yeah, that's the winner right there. Obviously those two are not consistent. There's not a lot of repeatability there. So for me, I didn't learn to make my 5 in one stroke. I learned to start with the down stroke and then come back and, like crossing a T, put the top of the 5 on. So let's try that. So heavy down, slightly below midline, so I can come up, light up around, heavy down, and then my cross, I want to go just a little bit curvy, because I've got a little bit curvy everywhere else, across the 4, across the 2, across the top of the 3, just borrowing those things and keeping them consistent from number to number to make it look cohesive. Because to me, I think pushing against the tip of the pen to go that way to make the 5 all in one stroke, it's like fingernails on chalkboard for me. I don't like doing it. You can make your 5, if you're a curly person, bring your 5 on around. So give it a nice curl and a really loopy top. Again, I want to keep my bottom bigger than my top for that faintly triangular feel. So this one doesn't look good to me. That one looks a little bit better. And then if we want to make a 55, just keep them really close together, almost touching. And you could actually get them to touch right there. Definitely 55. And then see how when I end to the left of my vertical, it makes the whole thing suddenly feel slightly slanted like the rest of my lettering. 6 is 6. It's got a lot of curves where we've got to change our pressure, but we can do it. So again, trying to make it slanted, we'll just start with a very small entrance into our 6. So light, heavy, light, heavy. See how this part makes it feel slanted? You can do way more. You can do much more of a curl to start and a curl to end. I've seen 6s drawn like that. It starts to look like a C to me if this part isn't closed. But if that fits with your font, go for it. if you're really, really no frills, maybe you just want to go straight into your heavy down. Nothing wrong with that either. I like putting just a tiny little bit of an entrance into it. I mean, we are trying to be a little bit fancy, right? That one's a little harder because you have to guess how much space to leave yourself in between. So my 7, I'm gonna borrow the top of the 3 for my 7. So just that same little bit of a curve. Light, heavy. Now I can make this straight, or I can curve it, arc it ever so slightly, and then across like I would cross my T. So that's just slightly arced. I don't have to do that, but I like it better with the arc. And again, it looks triangular, it's upside down triangular, but it still has that. I think the arc helps with that, some strange reason, not sure how. Not making this too big because I want it to be smaller than the top, so we keep that triangular form. And also because I don't want it to hit whatever's on either side of it if it's part of a long string of numbers. All right, so for 8s, the infinity, which is the way all the others showed. So again, with a small start to it. Heavy, 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 light. And then you can leave it open. It's kind of like a big S to me. Making the bottom bigger than the top for triangularity. That definitely looks like an 8. I actually learned to make my 8s as 2 circles sitting on top of each other. So heavy, light, and then bigger, heavy, light. So to me, to my brain, that looks like an 8. But either of them look good. I'm just really not good at doing the infinity. But I mean, I can do some similar little flary things there. There we go. So this is basically just a little lowercase o right there, the way I come out past it. So I like that. And thinking about it, if I saw this with a word that had a lowercase o in it, they would definitely be cohesive. So remember I said the 9 looked kind of like a little lowercase a with a really long tail, so let's try that. So that looks a little Q-like to me, but I think in context it would definitely turn into a 9. Okay, last but not least, the big 0, and I can already tell you it's basically going to be an O for me. So I'm going to do like I did on the top half of the 8 where I come out and around. But you don't have to. I mean, we saw lots of different options. I feel like mine's kind of halfway between no frills and full frills. So big, heavy down, light up, going past, there. Not exactly the same size, but... So that just leaves us with some punctuation. I don't have a lot of reference material on punctuation. I have one book that actually has some punctuation in it, and that was this one. This is the loose boxed set from Crayola that I got at Walmart. And I mean, just looking at it, you can see heavy dot, light, heavy dot. Hashtags are big right now, so heavy, heavy, light, light. I mean, it's just, the ampersands probably are the biggest variation and options there. So if we just practice a few, Let's do a hashtag, since we live in a hashtag world these days, or a pound sign if you're old school. Heavy, heavy. About the biggest thing you can vary would be, are these curvy or flat, completely flat? So straight, or do we make them a little bit curvy? So heavy, heavy, light, light. I kind of like the light ones. I think they look fine. And obviously you're putting one above and one below midline for balance. The other thing you can play with is how far apart. Those are really far apart. So let's try a question mark. So kind of like the top part of a 2, right? Light up, around, heavy down, diagonal, and ending vertically, and then a dot. That's a little tiny. Question marks, exclamation points. I could see you using those a little bit more frequently than some of the other stuff, because you could end an inspirational quote with one of those. And I mean, an exclamation point. Why even bother practicing, right? There's not, I don't think you'd make it curvy. So that's too gappy there. Right? It's an upside down, straight up I. So let's try a couple different options on the ampersands. So I can already tell you, I am not gonna make that one look pretty. That is gonna be hard. But you can tell just by looking at it that they're going up, starting here and going up, because that's the thin stroke, right? Light up, coming around, heavy down. So if we try that, light up, come around, heavy down, come around, light up. Actually, that looks better than I thought it would. The key, I tell you, the key is always pretend you're bionic and you're going super, super slow. And for those of you that don't know what that is, I weep for you because that makes me feel really, really old. If you don't know what the bionic man and the bionic woman are, oh my goodness, please don't tell me. I don't want to know. I can tell you though, if I ever find myself in dire need of doing an ampersand, this is not the option I'm going to go with. Typically, I go with this option right here. Although this one's got the most triangular feel to it, I'm just not really familiar with that one. I do more like this one, which is basically kind of like a backwards 3 almost. But you do need to go above and below the line on that one. So that one actually would look good if you were going to try to do some bounce lettering, which we're about to get into. So let's try that one. Smaller on the top, heavy, bigger on the bottom, heavy, and then just a little thingy at either end, which you may not have room for that style. So but that one looks the most natural to me, and in my opinion it's the easiest, even though I've got the fingernails on the chalkboard going against the point of my pen a little bit there. That one's definitely the easiest one for me to do. All right, and then we can let's try this one a little bit too, because it builds on that one. You're just doing a little tilde there. That doesn't look bad, actually. That doesn't look bad. That's just the one I'm least familiar with. Definitely need to keep this smaller and maybe up a little higher like they're doing here. That looks pretty good. Let's try to squeeze one more in. I mean, any of those are going to look okay, especially if it's the only one you're putting in, whatever it is, the paragraph, the quote, whatever it is you're doing. Okay, drum roll, the thing that you've all been waiting for. Let's talk about brush lettering. So last year I spent the entire rest of the video going into great detail on the basics of brush lettering. I have this linked. This is from the Happy Ever Crafter. She has great brush lettering videos. She's actually been going through every capital letter maybe once. It's not once a week. They're a little more sporadic than that, and showing like 15 different ways to do every capital letter. And I'm waiting for her to get, or maybe she already did. I was looking forward to I and a couple of the other super tricky ones. But if they're not even one a week, like once a month maybe. Anyway, check her out. This was a free download from her. I have it linked in the description box, but it's all about, I'm going to zoom out a little bit for now so you can see everything I'm looking at. So the good news is bounce lettering is not complicated. It is not a huge departure from what we've been doing. Bounce lettering is basically when you take your connectors and you just bounce them slightly extra low or slightly extra high. So a great beginner word for bounce lettering is minimum. So let's just start by writing the word minimum, just like we would absolutely completely normally write the word minimum. I gotta zoom back in. That's not gonna work. All right. So just writing our word minimum. So you can see I stayed pretty strictly, other than the dots on the eyes, right between the bottom line and the midline, just like normal, just like we've learned. To turn it into a bounce lettered word, you're going to choose strategic spots to break that rule. So here you can see she's come down below the baseline in a couple of places. So the M down below, the N down below, the M and the U and the M. That is a lot of bounces, and they're all in the downward direction. Now you can also bounce in the upward direction. So here we have the same word. She's bounced in all the same places down below, and she's also bounced in a few places up above. So the M, the N, the M, and the M. And that throwing it off kilter is what makes it bounce. That's the bouncing, right? So the biggest thing you have to do is decide how much bouncing looks good to you. A lot of bouncing, not very much bouncing, and I'm told, I've never really practiced bounce lettering. I'm told that it starts to become second nature where you're going to bounce. So let's try writing. First, let's try writing minimum with just bottom bounces, because one of the things you got to get the hang of is keeping all your bounces the same size. And when I tried to do this last year, if you paused the video, I would recommend pausing the video right now. And I think I can only link the video once. So apologies if you tried to look for it earlier. I think this is the right time for me to link that video. So I will link it right here, right now. I recommend you pause or stop watching here, go and watch last year's video, and then come back. Because I'm not gonna really, other than the word minimum, I want to do something different on the other half. So let's get through this. So let's bounce down. So we're gonna bounce in all the places she did: the M, the N, the M, the U, and the M. So 5 bounces. So just like normal. Okay, now this next one we're gonna bounce down below. And she's not going all the way down to the next midline. She's only going maybe half to a third down. Okay, and then we're gonna do our normal I. Now we're gonna do the first half of our N and then bounce the second half, just like we did on the M. Going nice and slow to try to keep those even. Okay, our normal I. We're gonna do a normal first half of the M. And then our second half we're gonna bounce and try to keep it as much as equal to that as we can. Okay, now we're gonna do our U. First half's gonna be normal, second half we're gonna bounce down even with that. Okay, and then same thing with our last M. We're gonna start at normal and then bounce the end of it. There. Minimum. Okay, so that looks pretty good. These are way more even. If you paused and you're coming back and you're now watching this, you can see I got those way more even than last year. One thing to note, she's not bouncing, she's mostly bouncing in the connectors, right? Where we connect, not like this part of the U. You wouldn't bounce there because it wouldn't look much like a U then. Your eye can compartmentalize and see the bounces when they're in between letters, but when they're in the middle of a letter, I think that would, at least it would mess with my brain. And so then you don't, though, want to only bounce down. You also want to bounce up. So keeping all 5 of those bounces, then we add in bouncing up. So again, here though, we just break the rule that I just said, because here she's bounced the first hump of the M, and here she's bounced the second humps of the M. So this one is in the middle. But so let's try this. She's doing second M hump, the only N hump, first M hump, and last M hump. Wow, okay, let's try this. Not confusing at all, right? Okay, we gotta go super slow. Here we go. First part of the M is normal. Okay, second part we're gonna bounce both up and down. Okay, our I is normal. I'm gonna dot it so I don't lose my place in all these humps. Okay, so first part of the N is normal, but second part we're gonna do just like the M and bounce both up and down. I is normal. Okay, now we're gonna bounce up on the first hump and down on the second hump of this next N. That got a little crazy, dropped a little low. Okay, the U, we're gonna start normal and bounce on our way out of it. And then this last M, we're gonna end with a bounce up and a bounce down. We're gonna start at normal. Bounce up and down. There. So that is a fully bounced both up and down minimum. Okay, that, oh, and I should have changed pens. Oh well. That's a lot of bouncing. So if you look at other, this is by far not the only bounce lettering video I found. There were others. That one had a nice free printable that you could print out. So I didn't realize this last year, but the Calligraphy Made Easy book actually has, to me, this, they don't actually call it bounce lettering, but it obviously it is bounce lettering, right? Because look how they're coming way down on the M, they're coming way down, coming out of the D. This is considered a bounce when you come way, way up with a letter that should be mostly or completely in between baseline and midline. So R's and S's are very, very commonly bounced. And in here you can see they bounce out of the T, right? That one's hitting normal, that one's hitting normal, this one is bounced. So for a word like moderate, you could bounce the top of the M, you could bounce the O and make it bigger instead. You can obviously, as they've done here, bounce the R, but if you're gonna do bounce lettering, you wanna you don't wanna bounce every single opportunity, and you need to bounce both down and up where you can. Here's another example. Here, this is something I've never seen before. Here, instead of bouncing down with the I, they actually made it super teeny tiny. Same thing with the E. See how super teeny tiny it is? And the A. So here's another style. They've actually taken every other letter and made them extra small. So that's an option as well. So let's try, I'm just gonna try writing these two. So you can see this word right here is pretty much normal. They didn't make a big S or an R or an O. Here they've bounced some. Let's try moderate. So I'm not gonna be able to get all this on camera, I don't think. Maybe if I do it this way. Can you see everything? I'm too zoomed in, but I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. Let's try that. Okay, so I'm gonna bounce my M down, I think, and my O up. Okay, let's bounce the O up. And then the D we'll make normal, except we'll bounce on our way out of it. So we've got a down and an up. See, we're just kind of going back and forth and intermingling. Okay, bouncing down out of the D. That looks a little weird. Okay, our E is going to be normal. And then I'm going to make a bigger loop on the R to give me another. I've got a down, an up, a down. Let's do an up. Let's bounce up on the R. Okay, now we've got our A. I could have come down out of the R. So again, this is where it kind of gets into, it's not hard and fast rules. You have to kind of just figure it out as you go. So they've kept the R normal, the A normal. The T already is a big letter, so it kind of just gives you that feel. But I want to do something within the end of the word. So here they've bounced down out of the T into the E. So we'll do that. So normal A, normal T. Oops, I needed to come down out of the E. The T, I mean. It's really hard to remember. So there we go. That's moderate. Let's try again, moderate on the next row and see if I can get it all right. So the other reason I don't really do a lot of bounce lettering is because it really increases your entanglements. You're not staying within the lines, so now you're gonna hit, we're gonna have all kinds of entanglements. But let's try it. So normal M. Bouncing out of the M. Okay, we're going to bounce up on the O. Okay, we're going to bounce out of the D. E is normal. We're going to bounce up on the R. We're going to leave the A alone. We're going to bounce down coming out of the T. And then we're going to leave our E alone. There we go. Bounced. And this is getting so entangled it's hard to even look at. So let's come clear over here and try another example. So this one, like I said, they did big. They bounced some, but more so they changed the entire size of the letter. So they've got normal to big letter, small, normal to big. This one's bouncing down a little, extra small. The R is really big, extra small. And then the L, they're leaving alone. So let's try that one. Let's try liberal. I think I'll come clear over here with it. So normal L, and then tiny little I, and then a really big B, and then a teeny tiny E, and and then a really big R, so it's going to bounce up and down. And then a tiny little A, like extra small. And then a normal size L. There. So there's the word liberal bounce lettered. And actually, that looks the most like a normal bounce lettered word to me in 2 now sessions, 1 last year and 1 this year of practicing. That looks the most like bounce lettering to me. So maybe that's the key, is shrinking like every other word, or I'm sorry, every other letter. Huh, interesting. I think that's all then there is in this book, oops, on bounce lettering, basically. And like I said, they don't even really call it bounce lettering. Yep. Okay, I want to do something with the red pen right there. We could try bounce lettering the word Christmas. That's a big word though. How about the word bounce? Let's do the word bounce and do it kind of like this. Well, let's try that. So I'm going to do pretty much, I'm going to start it almost normal with just a normal B. And then we'll bounce, we'll do, should we do a tiny little O? Let's do a tiny little O. And then we'll do a normal U, and we'll bounce down out of it. Okay, and then we'll do an N. Should I bounce? Let's bounce up on the N, because I just have short letters left. Okay, let's do a tiny little C. And then we'll end with, maybe we'll slightly bounce up on the E. Bounce. That looks bounced. All right. So for the second half then, this is the thing that's most different from what I did last year. I pulled all of my quote books. So I've got a couple from Amber Plans Her Day. Actually I have 1 Calibre plan and 4 from Amber Plans Her Day. And the reason I pulled these is because, first of all, a lot of people have heard them. They're very mainstream, relatively speaking. But Calibre Plans lettering is pretty famous, relatively speaking, and it is absolutely a bounce lettering style. And she's even mentioned that before when she talks about her hand lettering, that it's bouncy, basically. And one of the things I've noticed as I look through here is there are certain letters that she basically always bounces. So if you look at this R, treat people with kindness, okay? But this is a capital letter, or not a capital letter, but this is an ascender, the T, and the R is not. The R should come up to midline and the T should go up to top line. But look, they're the same size. So the T is tiny and the R is big, right? And that's part of what makes it look bounce lettered. Same thing here with like the T and the H. They're the same size as the W and the I almost. They're slightly bigger. And then her S's, she makes great big S's. And I am not complaining. I'm in awe because she just writes, and she's been doing this for so long that she doesn't have to think about it. So if you like bounce lettering, if you want to develop a bounce lettering style, don't give up, be patient, you can do it, and it will become second nature. Heather is proof that it can become second nature. So, but not like she doesn't always. Like here, these should all be the same size and her R kind of comes up. Here, the S is definitely under the T, right? But this one, no matter what she does, it looks great in my opinion. You can do hard things. I mean, look, the R, the H, and the D are like almost the same size. Let's not look at the yellow because it's so hard to see. So here are the S's. Look how big they are. Here you can see how the N, the connector between the N and the E drops down below where the O and the first half of the N and the E are? That's a bounce right there. Same thing, this R is as big as the T. That's a bounce. So let's try those two words, turn one, and just see how they look. And we're gonna go every other line. So let's try T, let's see, U, and then we're gonna bounce a great big R. And then an N. Okay, so it's a start, but I feel like I need more bouncing. So if I did the T as a bounce and the N as a bounce along with the R, I think it'll look a little more balanced. Let's try that. And I just realized I am way up off screen. I am so sorry. So I said this one looked, the R bounce looks good, but it was lopsided. It needed something down below. So I bounced out of the T and out of the N, and I think that definitely looks better. I just didn't make these even enough. So let's try one more time. Third try's a charm. We'll bounce. We'll try to get those two to be even. So that definitely, I can read the word turn. It looks bounced. It looks relatively even. Let's grab a different pen. Okay, and we're gonna try, let's find another word to try bouncing. Hard. Okay, so if we really dive in to this word hard, she's got the R going up and the A, see how tiny the A is, how much shorter it is? So like that last style we were playing with at the end on the other page, a tiny little, so the R is extra big and the A is extra small. Let's try that. Okay, so hard. Let's make the H normal, but we'll bounce a tiny bit coming out of the H. Okay, and we're gonna do a tiny A. And now we're gonna make an extra big R. So from small to big. And then last but not least, it looks like she bounced a little bit down out of the R. Too late for that, I didn't. But I can bounce coming out of the D. That definitely looks, oh my gosh, I am so sorry you guys. It's really messy. This is all just, it's so much for my brain to process. So apologies. Let's try that one more time on camera this time so you can see what I'm doing. So normal start to the H, but then we'll bounce down out of it. Coming up way high because I want to do a miniature A. And then we're going to bounce into a really big R. And I'm going to bounce a little bit coming out of the R, and we'll do a normal D. So that's the other thing. You can play with where your bounces are. So here I kept that normal and I bounced out of the D. Here I bounced out of the R and kept the D normal. So you you'll start to get a feel for it, or so I'm told. Okay, the other book then I wanted to look at was Amber Plans Her Day. I want to go to, so she started adding more and more fonts in. I want to go to her very first one, which was the holiday quotes. Because she does bounce lettering too. I mean, she absolutely does bounce lettering too. See, like, look, the year is yours. Look how uneven the R and the S are. Let's find a good example that we can play with. See, like, look, okay, here we go. The S, I don't think that's supposed to be a capital, but it's as big as the T. she definitely bounces her S's and R's as well. So let's try that. Let's try the word stars. So we're going to do a really big S. Big R. And then we're going to come down way, way low on the S. Oh my gosh, I'm off screen again. Oh, sorry. We're going to do a really big, it's because I'm trying to fit all this stuff on here. A big S that drops down lower. Okay, so it works for her. I don't like mine though. I think I need to bounce more because I feel like I just have this one thing hanging down here. So let's try. I don't want this to be full on capital, so let's make it big but not quite that big. Okay, and then we'll make the T normal size. I'm gonna bounce down out of the T. And then let's make the A kind of mini. And then the R is gonna be real big. And then I won't bounce out of the R because I already know I'm gonna drop down on this S. There, that looks pretty bouncy. I mean, I guess the rule for bounce lettering is that nothing is even, nothing is where it should be, and you just gotta pick and choose where you go wonky, right? Like here's a W that drops down, is obviously bounced. Here you can see she's bouncing on the M's, coming out of the M's, and there's a bounce on the A. So for the rules of bounce lettering is there are no rules. Let's look at another one of her books. So colorful quotes. So here she's come down on the K, down on the end, down on the D, on the N. I should have gone through here wasting all you guys' time by not having a bunch of examples already bookmarked in here, but so anyway, I think I'll wrap up here, or maybe I'll pause it and try to find a couple good examples. Here you can see she's bounced down on the N. Can you see that? On the coming out of the H she bounced. It looks like she's slightly bouncing on the N and the D and definitely the S. So it's very common, it looks like, to bounce coming out on the connectors. Like this one outside, that's actually written in kind of a curve because of the bounces. So anyway, there we go. Can you tell I'm reluctant to end this? I'm gonna miss you guys. So, but again, here we go. So 2 S's. This one doesn't really go up super high, so it's not necessarily a capital S, but it is way bigger than this one. This N drops down. The H definitely drops down. So does the N. So there you go. That's bounce lettering. I think the key is just bouncing the right amount of time, hitting that sweet spot to where you don't bounce every single opportunity. You bounce just enough that it looks balanced, right? So there we go. That was last year. So I was rambling on, hi Jasper, so much that I reached the end of my recording. But anyway, here we go. This is last year versus this year. First, I'll show you numbers. Sorry, Jazzy. Keep going, baby. He wanted to say goodbye to you all. So here we go. Not much difference there. You can see I played a little bit more. If you stopped and watched this video, then you got to see all of this. So I think one of the problems I have with bounce lettering is I'm trying to do it on lined paper. And it goes against everything we've fought, all the gains we've fought to make, to get everything to be as repeatable and lined up as possible. So anyway, there you go. there is our final lesson. I hope you like this video. Check out next Sunday. I'll definitely post something. Right now I'm thinking I will probably go ahead and just show you the process of hand lettering in my classic size horizontal planner. Those are my Thursday videos where I actually do the decoration. I think I might start and just we'll record one. We'll do one, and we'll see how it goes for next Sunday, and you guys can give me your feedback. I'm afraid that's going to become kind of repetitive, but we'll give it a try. So anyway, I hope you like this video. If you've just found me, definitely go back and start at the beginning of the Hand Lettering 2022 playlist with the Secrets to Great Hand Lettering video. I'll link that. I'll try to remember to link that in the cards up above and in the description box. And please consider liking, subscribing, giving me a thumbs up, dropping me a smiley face as a comment or a couple of words. All those interactions with my video help me and are a great way for you to support my channel. Thank you.